we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. Let's get into some more serious things. Let's talk about A.J. Brown. I hinted around it yesterday when we were talking about the Buccaneers game, and I was, talking about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, how they're able to squeak by with these victories when they have not played great football by any stretch of the imagination. We know that A.J. Brown so far this season has not been off to a great start. We can see it here. He has only 14 receptions and 151 yards on the season. That ranks 66th and 61st, respectfully. That's not good. You're under a new offensive coordinator in Kevin Patullo. Kellen Moore, the boy wonder, he's not there no more. He got a head coaching job for the New Orleans Saints. And even under Shane Steichen, A.J. Brown was able to be super efficient. But for some reason, A.J. Brown and the Eagles coaching staff and Jalen Hurts has not been on one accord to start the year. The first couple of weeks, I don't even know this. A.J. Brown had like 2 or 3 targets in the first game against the Cowboys. And then the second week, it was more of the same. And even going into the third game with the Rams back in week 3, the first half, it was more of the same. And then in the second half, they just say, screw it. I don't know why they did at halftime. Kevin Patullo and Jalen Hurts, they got together. They said, hey, let's finally throw A.J. Brown the ball. And you saw what happened. He breakout game, he got 100 yards. So a lot of the Eagles fans and, mostly anybody in the media space were sitting there thinking, okay, the Eagles are back. I even said, I was like, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles are back. They seem to found their groove on the offensive side of the ball. After, accumulating the negative yardage they did in the first half with the Rams, and they did the same thing on Sunday against the Buccaneers. But we were all sitting there thinking, hey, maybe they found it and got it together. They didn't. I want to say how many. A.J. Brown had 9 targets, and he had 2 balls. He caught 2 balls. Now, what we can say is, well, at least they're targeting him because they were forcing him the ball on Sunday. They really were. But let's actually get to the quote at hand. So, after the game, A.J. Brown posted a cryptic tweet on Twitter that was later deleted. He said this: if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdrawn, don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way. Now, what is something that we learned about A.J. Brown when they won the Super Bowl last year? I have his post, and we're going to read it together. But essentially, A.J. Brown laid it out and said that he does not care to win a Super Bowl. To paraphrase what he said, the Super Bowl did not fulfill him. And we're going to discuss exactly what he said. This was a screenshot of his post when he won the Super Bowl. He said, and I quote, "After a few days, I've had the time to reflect on being a champion. I tried to feel how everyone made it seem to be a champion. Unfortunately, it was short-lived. 2 days to be exact. I've never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't. My thrill for this game comes when I dominate. It's the hunt that does it for me. It's when the DB drops his head and surrender because he can't F with me. Sorry for the language. The intense battles, early mornings, late nights, sacrifices. I love putting smiles on people's faces. Don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be. It's the journey that I love the most. Back to work." So he's he says this. He's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? He's kind of like, he's talking in one ear and out of the other. It's like he's trying to not make it sound as bad as he's trying to make it sound. Like he's trying to say that he's still, I can allude to what he's trying to say. He's trying to sound like he's trying to not sound so harsh and make it seem like he still wants to win, but he just at the end of the day doesn't enjoy winning, like he said. AJ Brown is one of these receivers. He feels satisfied when he has he catches 7, 8, 9 balls for $150, $120, and wins. Heck, he could even lose and he wouldn't care. He'd rather lose the game, catch 7, 8, 9 balls for $150 and lose, than catch 2 balls like he did on Sunday for 20 yards and win a Super Bowl. That's the type of guy that AJ Brown is. Now, Nick Sirianni, he came out and in a presser yesterday, and he was pretty much like, yeah, there's nothing going on. It's the same old that everybody says. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with AJ Brown. He's probably frustrated because he's not able to contribute to winning. But, I have all faith and I believe that AJ Brown is going to be with us. Now, to answer my headline of the show, do I think AJ Brown is going to get traded? I don't. If they were losing, right? I feel like, honestly, if the Eagles right now were 1-3, which they are, from the way they've played, like it is 1-3 could have been a possibility if this was any other team but the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Philadelphia Eagles for some reason just continue to find a way to win ball games. But realistically, and let's hypothetically say, if they were 1-3 and AJ Brown was playing the way he was playing right now in this offense under Kevin Patullo, I could almost guarantee you that he would have requested a trade. In my whole heart, I do. Because he's accomplished the job. He's won a Super Bowl. He's got his money. What else is going to fulfill him? I don't know. He loves the grind. Maybe he likes the grind of, like he said, he loves to wake up in the morning. He likes to work. Maybe he would more farther enjoy trying to go to another team and win a Super Bowl with somebody else. Now that he's completed the task with the Eagles. I don't know. I'm just making assumptions here. But he's not getting traded. The Eagles are 4-0. They're going to end up winning 11, 12, 13 games because it's the Eagles. They found a way to win. I'm calling them the Kansas City Chiefs of last year. They're going to play mediocre football as a ball club, and some way, somehow, they're going to muster up the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I can predict that I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I just don't. I don't trust the offensive coordinator. And to give some credit to AJ Brown, they're too conservative. And that is something that AJ Brown really conveyed last week when they had the big game, because he's like, AJ Brown said, man, we're so talented. We're too conservative. If we should play more aggressive, we can win games. Because I've watched these games. And most of the time, AJ Brown's running bull jive routes. Credit Shannon Sharp. He's either running a fade, he's running a comeback, or he's running a slant route. Majority of the time, it's a comeback or a slant route. Every time I turn around, when Jalen Hurts throws the ball and completes it to AJ Brown, he's running a slant route or a comeback route. It never fails. Y'all go back and watch the highlights from Sunday's game in the second half when Jalen Hurts was literally forcing the ball to AJ Brown. What was AJ Brown running? A stop route. Literally. They cannot get the ball throwing a deep post, a crossing route. AJ Brown, he never runs any of them routes. I don't understand it for the life of me, but that's just the route tree that they're running. That's probably something that AJ Brown is really frustrated about, and I don't particularly blame him for it. But to answer the question, he's not getting traded. You're 4-0. You're on a team that's 4-0. And going into next week against the Denver Broncos, you're going to go up against a DB room that is really well coached and that is really good. If the Buccaneers were able to do that to AJ Brown, I definitely do imagine that the Denver Broncos is going to be able to do that with Pat Surtain. They had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase relatively in a blender yesterday in a baggie. And next week, we're going to get some type of article or something about AJ Brown being frustrated about his role currently in the Eagles offense. So, yeah, that is pretty much all we could take away from it. AJ Brown is just this type of guy in this point of his career. He's accomplished the main goal. He, at the end of the day, what makes him happy is what he said. He likes to demoralize his opponents by catching a bunch of balls on them, getting 80, 90 to 100 yards that game. And he'd rather do that no matter the result of winning or losing. That's what he would rather do than follow the formula right now that the Eagles like. The Eagles formula, led under the culture of Nick Sirianni, they've set this culture. Do whatever it takes to win. Jalen Hurts has established that. And Jalen Hurts is not going to sabotage that by trying to force feed the football to AJ Brown. It's not going to happen. Do I inevitably see them more than likely going down a divorce down the road? More than likely.